Hey guys, a build that is not new to the shop is my Mattzilla Ultra4 here. Now I've ran this thing a ton this year at get-togethers, competitions, local to Kansas City and all over the country. So this thing has got a lot of runtime on it, and it's kind of starting to show a little bit. Now the running videos that you have seen me run this thing in, you can tell that I'm not very nice to this car. I really throw it into whatever I want just all the time without much fear for all that much braking on it. However, this weekend I was running it here locally at Goat Hill, throwing it around, jumping it, running it into rocks, whole deal, and I finally heard that rear end start to pop a little bit. So I knew that it was going to do that basically because when I originally built it, I left out a couple of screws in the top of the center of the axle case, and what that allowed to do is it allowed for the ring and pinion to separate slightly because that case was allowed to flex. My fault. However, I am running stock gears in this axle. Usually stock gears will last a pretty decent amount of time, but my fault for letting them wear prematurely because I left those two screws out. I did put the screws in later after that first run and was able to get it to stop for quite a while, but like I said, the situations that I throw it into, I'm not surprised that it finally let go. I have been running the Tekin Rock 412 3100 in this vehicle since I built it, also with running 3S all the time. The reason that I'm doing this video is because it's time to get this thing and do a little bit of maintenance to it. While I'm at it though, I'm gonna change it up. Now, it's been beat on, the panels are scratched, the cage is scratched. I bent the front of the chassis in where I was running that Stinger into rocks at next to full speed. While I've got the whole rig torn apart to do some maintenance and things like that, I think I'm going to take the opportunity to make some modifications to the chassis just to make it a little bit more custom, a little bit more my own. I've absolutely loved running this truck. I have really run this truck probably more than any I have had in the last year or two. This truck is by far deserving of any maintenance and things like that that it will require. Up front in this build, if you remember, I was running the RC Bros Burley tubes with the Vanquish Wraith scale knuckles and hubs. Now those scale hubs from Vanquish have that clamping feature in the back. Now when I installed everything on this rig, all I used was that clamping feature just to see how that went. Not something that I would normally recommend to anybody, but all I did was threw those hubs on, clamped them down. I never added the screws to the top or bottom of those Burley tubes. Just something I did to kind of test everything out, see how it held. It held all year until this weekend when I was finally able to pop those C-hubs just loose one notch, and I could see that my caster angle on my knuckles was off. So now it's time to get back in there and remedy that while I'm tearing the whole thing down. So while this rig is all torn down for maintenance, it's going to be time to get in there and do some customization to this chassis. If you guys remember, I got this chassis in the powder coated finish straight from Lou at Mattzilla. This chassis runs $299 and it came pretty much ready to assemble. Now, normally when I get chassis from Lou, I get them raw so that I can do a little bit of customization. This one he sent me completely done so that I couldn't mess with it. But now's the time that I am going to take that opportunity to do a little bit of customization. So I'm going to start working on a plan to get in there and modify a few things, specifically in the rear for some looks on suspension mounting. Up front, I'm going to redo a little bit on the suspension as well. Also bracing that very front hood bar to help from that bending that I got when I was running that Stinger into things. So this is going to be one of those projects you guys see evolve over the winter. It's going to be pretty intricate with some of the metal work that I plan to get in there. We'll see exactly how everything comes out. I'm going to start pulling it into CAD, working with it from there, and we'll see exactly what we get when it's all done. Hopefully it'll be ready for the very first spring runs, as this is always kind of one of my go-to scale rigs. But for now guys, that's it, and we'll see you guys in the next one.